Assalamu alaikum, dear viewers. Welcome to my another very important live show. This is being streamed in my official YouTube channel and in my official YouTube Facebook page. Inshallah, today, in details, we will talk about child rights in Bangladesh in terms of education, health disaster response, etc. And to join us in this discourse today, we have a very important person who is the favorite person of all of the children in Bangladesh, and he is none other than Mr. Sheldon Yett. Mr. Yett, how are you?
Thanks, Faatiha. I'm great. It's really an honor to be on your show, and I'm really excited to talk about issues that impact children in Bangladesh. So really wonderful to be here, and congratulations on such a great show.
Yeah, and it's my honor to have you. So thank you so much for coming. I know you have a very busy schedule, so thank you so much for giving us time.
Sure.
Okay, so dear Mr. Sheldon, my jaw dropped when my mom told me that you were born in Brooklyn, New York. I was dumbfounded. A man from my next door is in charge of children of my country? Really? I'm too excited to know about your journey from my neighborhood to my country.
Well, thank you. I'm excited to meet you too. And just as a clarification, I'm not really in charge of children in your country. Of course, families are, communities are, their parents are, and I work to support the government in these communities. But you're right. I came from Brooklyn originally. I was born in Brooklyn, and Brooklyn is in New York. And then I lived all around the world, lived in many, many, many different countries. And now I'm really happy to be in Bangladesh. I've been here now since October. Time flies.
Exactly.
It goes very, very fast.
So, like you just said, you are in Bangladesh from last year, October. So how is your experience so far in terms of people, hospitality, and culture of Bangladesh? How is it similar and how is it different from the other countries that you have served, like Burundi, Somalia, Liberia, Macedonia, Kosovo, etc.?
Yeah, you've named a number of countries in which I have lived in the past, and in some respects there are a lot of great similarities. In some respects, a lot of differences. I think everywhere you go, you make a home. You find that people are welcoming, people are curious, people want to know what you're doing, people want to know about your past. In Bangladesh, though, it's a little bit different. People want to know all of that, but they're really welcoming. They really want to see me here. They open their houses to me. They serve their food to me. We talk on the street. It's really a wonderful feeling to be welcome here. And it's also a place where the food is wonderful. There's so much to do, so many people to meet. So I'm loving it.
Exactly. Bangladesh is full of people and their hospitality, we're very welcoming to new people. We're eager to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so how is UNICEF helping the 1.6 million children stranded by the recent flood in Bangladesh? I have seen that you were urgently seeking $2.5 million in funding for the emergency response. So how far have you achieved in that goal?
I just came back a couple of hours ago from Sylhet, and the situation regarding the floods in the northeastern part of the country is just heartbreaking. It's devastating. It's like being on a giant inland lake. It's like being in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Communities that were just a couple of weeks ago were villages and farms are now underwater. And the 2.5 million is just a drop in the ocean there. We need far more. And we're doing the assessments now. But we've been on the ground since day one, helping the government, helping those particular communities. We have an office there. And our team has been out in the villages. We've distributed some 1 million water purification tablets so people can have safe drinking water. We've given out jerry cans, which are large cans, large containers that people can carry safe water. We've given out hygiene kits, nutrition supplies, milk, therapeutic milk, vitamins, antibiotics, all the basics that people need, but so much more is needed. And one thing is also very striking, the resilience of this community. I mean, these people have been through so much, and my heart goes out to every one of them.
Thank you so much. You launched UNICEF's pilot project to use drones to deliver vaccines in Banat and Vanuatu, and it was successful. So, do you have any such plans for Bangladesh, especially in this flood-blocked moment?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, you asked me earlier how Bangladesh was different from other countries. Well, it's very different from the country of Vanuatu, which is a country in the middle of the South Pacific, very small, very remote. Bangladesh is very large, with a large population and a very, very effective health system compared to Vanuatu. When you look at access to villages, access to populations, there are roads, there are trains, there are planes, there are airports. Vanuatu has nothing like that. So we won't be introducing a drone project here. I don't think it's appropriate for Bangladesh. But of course, there are going to be lots of other innovations. We're always thinking of new innovations every day. And often, many of the best innovations come from young people like yourself. So we really welcome your ideas. Help us figure out how we can do things better, how we can serve children better. We really want to hear your ideas.
Thank you. I have come across your recent article in the Daily Star before this year's budget was passed. I liked that you mentioned about the disrupted education of children due to one of the world's longest pandemic-related school closures in Bangladesh. You asked Bangladesh government to invest more in children. So my question is, what is your reaction after the new budget has passed? In the new budget, will Bangladesh spend enough percent of the GDP on children education as per the global average?
Well, I'm the representative of UNICEF. And of course, I'm going to say more money needs to be spent on education. But I think that's really true in Bangladesh. When you look at the population of some 37 million children in the country, you really wonder, well, what has happened to these kids? Remember, Bangladesh had one of the longest disruptions of the formal education system, some 18 months due to COVID. So it's really critical that we get all children back into school, that we have resources going in the education system, and that children can continue to learn and develop their full potential. That's only going to happen if more money is put into formal education, into primary education, into secondary education. It is true that Bangladesh is under the global average and under pledges on it. Now, part of the reason is because the economy has grown so much, but I think it's in everybody's interest of more investments are made for children.
Thank you. Okay, we know the problems of children of Bangladesh. Lack of quality education, child labor, child trafficking, child marriage, scarcity of safe drinking water, drop out of school, access to health facility, awareness of child rights, death of newborn, juvenile justice, climate change vulnerability, etc. So how does UNICEF prioritize what to address first? In fact, does UNICEF address all of these?
That's an excellent question. Well, when it comes to emergencies, such as the floods we're facing in Sylhet, yes, we really focus on the critical life-saving support that communities that are facing massive floodwaters and destruction require. But in the normal development setting, the normal setting of the rest of Bangladesh, and when it's not in the monsoons, when they're not facing an emergency, we have to address all these issues. It's impossible to say one is more important than the other because they all build on each other. You can't address healthcare or nutrition without addressing education. You need skilled people to work in education. You can't address malnutrition without addressing water and sanitation, because one of the reasons that children are malnourished is because they have diarrhea and they have waterborne diseases. So you have to address all of these issues. It comes as a package. That's why the Convention on the Rights of the Child looks at all the components of a child's life. And that's why UNICEF works with government and with communities and with families and with civil society to address all of these issues.
So how do you prioritize what to address first?
Well, it depends on the exact setting. Obviously, you need resources to go, and all of us advocate for resources to go and basic health and for children who need it most. We also want to see resources going to the poor, the people whose parents drive Lamborghinis or Porsches or BMWs probably don't need as much support as people whose parents are day laborers in the fields. Those are the people we really want to see resources and support going to. And those are the people we want to see services going to. But in terms of which service, well, you have to prioritize all of them. All of them need to be addressed to address the rights of children.
Okay, thank you. UNICEF Bangladesh has a tremendous platform to listen to the voice of children of Bangladesh, which is Bangladesh Generation Parliament. After receiving the views and ideas from them, how do you reach those to the stakeholders? What is the success story so far for this marvelous manifesto?
Yeah, another good question. We have something called Generation Parliament, and through it, we facilitate engagement of young people with parliamentarians to discuss issues that affect them every day. Everything from access to education to illness in their families, to access to good health care, to climate change. So all of these things are addressed through this group. And one of the great examples that I'm really proud of is our climate change declaration. We had some million children provide declaration to members of parliament before COP26, before the big climate change summit in Scotland late last year. And they met with the speaker, they met with the Minister of Environment, and they handed over to these very, very senior government officials, these very senior statesmen, the view from children that more needs to be done from climate change. And they were welcomed by our counterparts, by government. It really provided a forum for sharing ideas and for hearing young people's voices. So I'm really excited by what we can do with something like this.
Thank you. As my organization, Child and D, works for climate, health, information, learning, and development, lots of Bangladeshi children have regular communication with me. Many of them have the same complaint that they forget lots of the things that they study. Do you think that this can be an effect of having too much high levels of lead in their blood transmitted through polluted water, which can also cause irreparable damage to their health and development? How can we battle this issue?
Yeah, good question. I mean, let's be honest, all of us forget what we studied sometimes, and all of us forget about what happened. So we shouldn't jump to the conclusion that we're all deathly ill. That being said, however, it is true that there is a problem with high levels of lead in the blood in many children in this country. And high levels of blood, particularly in the youngest of children, children under 5, can cause irreparable damage to brains and to livers and to the whole system, the whole body, all the organs of children. And it's really critical that we address this, that we raise awareness, that people know the dangers of lead in paint, in fuel, in batteries. It's everywhere, and it can be very dangerous. It is an issue in Bangladesh, and if you feel that you're forgetting a lot, or you think that you might be getting sick, you should really talk to a doctor. Doctors can do a simple blood test and can advise you what you need to do.
Thank you. UNICEF Bangladesh has a wonderful batch of national ambassadors and youth advocates. It's really an honor for them and an opportunity for children of Bangladesh to get message and encouragement from them. I am also on the way to becoming an ambassador of the UNA Climate and Oceans based in UK and an Arctic Angel of Global Choices based in USA. So I want to know from you that how great is the involvement of national ambassadors and youth advocates of UNICEF in Bangladesh, and how can I contribute?
Again, that's wonderful that you are being an active participant and a global ambassador for climate change. This is critical. And it's critical that people who will be on this earth long after that I've gone back to the stars and gone back, that I'm off, I've left Earth, are here. Uh, Look, global ambassadors, national ambassadors do wonderful things. We're really honored to have Mim, for example, the great actress from Bangladesh, as a national ambassador. They lend their credibility, their voice to issues of concern to UNICEF and to issues of concern to children. Sometimes people listen more to celebrities, to people they see on TV, on the tennis courts, the cricket matches, than they
Yes.
listen to people with PhDs and listen to people from my organization. So we have to use your voice, and that's a wonderful thing. It's great to have your voice out there for climate change, and it's wonderful to have people like Mim talking about issues that affect children in Bangladesh and around the world.
Thank you. As we know that Bangladesh signed and ratified the Convention on the Rights of Children in 1990. Many countries have done it later than Bangladesh. In that perspective, that being said, how do you evaluate the adherence of Bangladesh to this convention of 54 articles? Is Bangladesh on the right path to reaching the 2030 agenda of SDG or even its own 8th five-year plan?
I think Bangladesh has really punched far above its weight, as they say in boxing. Uh, Bangladesh has made a remarkable achievement across many of the SDGs. But the SDGs for all countries are always a work in progress. No country is perfect. Bangladesh is not perfect. We still have a lot more work to do in investing in education and health, in making sure the most vulnerable children have access to social workers, free of a life of violence, are not exposed to child labor, are not exposed to trafficking. There's so many things that we still need to do. And every couple of years, the government submits a report to the committee that oversees the Convention on the Rights of the Child, and we discuss those issues where progress has been made and those issues where we still need to work together and ensure that there are more resources, more attention being paid to those places that still need more work. So I'm optimistic that a lot more progress will be made, but like all countries, it's always a work in progress.
Mhm. Thank you. I have gone through the article on cyberbullying that is published in UNICEF Bangladesh website. The top 10 questions on that article addresses everything, and it's really helpful. But I could not find any project of UNICEF Bangladesh which is working on cyberbullying. Is there any? Please let us know. I cannot resist myself to let you know that my third book, which was published in February 2021, named Diary of a Muslim Kid, is based on cyberbullying. I have a dream to make an animation film based on the story of that book in order to spread awareness about cyberbullying, just like Mina that UNICEF also made.
Well, I gotta say, you've got me beat on publication of books. I'm a little bit older than you, but you've published far more books, and congratulations on that.
Thank
You've
you.
also, yeah, but you've also raised another point on cyberbullying. That is a huge issue. It's an issue in Bangladesh. It's actually an issue everywhere. But we actually have been working on this issue. We've been working with Telenor, the communications company, since 2018, and we reached millions and millions of Bangladeshi children, helping them develop an understanding of what they need to do to stay safe. We've been working with the government itself and with other communication companies, media companies, internet companies. There's a lot of harm that the internet can do as well as good. And it's important that all children know how to stay safe and how to stay safe from cyberbullying.
Thank you. So my last question to you is that I am a regular follower of MENA Media Award, although I cannot participate in this competition as I do not live or reside in Bangladesh. So how do you assess the contribution and impact of this program to the young generation of Bangladesh when you see the overwhelming response? I wish I could participate as I am still a Bangladeshi girl by birth and by all my heart.
Well, it's amazing. The MENA Media Awards have been incredibly popular for many, many years, and they generate a lot of attention here. I think the rewards go to show just how much interest and how much we can learn from engaging with other ways, for less didactic ways of talking with people. It gives people a voice, and it shows that journalists, child journalists, can be really effective in talking about issues and bringing attention to issues, just as you are. So I would love to find a way for you to participate in it, but you have to live in Bangladesh, just as you said.
Thank you, Mr. Sheldon, for giving us time. This was my last question to you, and I'm really honored to have had you here today. So thank you for coming.
Thank you, thank you. But let me ask you, do I get to ask you any questions?
Yeah, sure.
Well, thank you. No, I really like your show, and I think you're doing wonderful work helping other young people understand these issues. How did you get interested in this?
So there have been I usually raise my voice about climate change and also about child rights. Climate change, I'm not interested into it. I always say this. When I first went to Alaska, and my parents took me on this, the ship on a cruise, right? And then I went to this place and I saw that the icebergs were falling down from the glaciers, and then in front of my eyes they were falling down in chunks. So I understood that the sea level would rise from there. And then I thought about Bangladesh, because I know that Bangladesh is a low-level country. So I know that if in this rate the sea level keeps rising, then sooner or later Bangladesh will be submerged, right? And so that's from then on, my interest in climate change came, and I've been raising my voice about climate change ever since. And I raised my voice about child rights because, well, I am a child myself, right? And I think about what I would do if I placed myself in the vulnerable children, in their shoes, right? And from there, I think, well, I need to raise my voice. I need to let people know about what is going on with these children. So it's always constantly in my mind. It's just unlike climate change, child rights has always been a thing that's always going on in my mind.
You know, you have a wonderful voice. You're a wonderful advocate, and I wish more young people were like you. So keep up the excellent work. Keep asking those hard questions. Keep trying to get others involved. And I'm really optimistic about a better Bangladesh, a better world, if people like you would continue to raise your voices and become involved. So well done.
Thank you, Mr. Yett. So I guess this is it for today. Hopefully we'll see each other later in the near future.
Thank you. I hope so. I'm looking forward to talking to you again.
Okay, dear viewers, I hope you all enjoyed this live show. Please stay tuned for my next one. Thank you and Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you.